People help people who look lost. Hey, I am Chuck the bureaucrat, and you know, one of the things that frustrates people who are newly assigned to the Pentagon is just knowing how to navigate that place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the basic advice that'll get you started. And then I'll show you a number of quick tips that usually get left out of the basics and cause people to actually get lost. And then I'll show you a game that I used to use to help people get oriented to the place. And then I'm going to wrap up with a secret trick that I still use 15 years after I first came to the Pentagon to handle those situations when I get lost. Okay, the first thing about the Pentagon is that it is all about fives. 5 sides, 5 rings, 5 floors, 5 apexes. Each apex branches off into 2 corridors, so you get 10 corridors. The rooms are designated by a 5-character code. The first character is the floor, and then there's a letter that indicates the ring. The third character is the corridor, and then the last 2 digits are the room number. Now, I'm going to stop here because the order of these room numbers is actually not a very good way to find where you're trying to go. I mean, if you go floor, ring, corridor, you're never going to find where you're trying to get to. Instead, what you want to do is go corridor, floor, ring. All right, you know how there's always an exception to a rule? Well, that handy rule of 5s is never true. I know, it's crazy. There are actually 2 underground levels, the mezzanine and the basement. And then there's more than 5 rings. Those underground levels extend further out, so you can have an underground room in F ring or even further out. In addition to the main corridors, there's 5 half corridors. Now, these corridors start on A ring, they're halfway between the apexes, hence the name, and then they extend through to E ring. And the rooms on these half corridors have a special designation that helps clue visitors in that the room they're looking for is on a half corridor. The 4th character will be an 8 or a 9 if the room is on a half corridor. These exceptions to the rule of 5 should show you why I always go corridor, floor, ring. It's because not all floors go all the way around. Now, there is one additional piece of advanced knowledge for getting around, and that is that sometimes the room you're going to is inside another room. Usually, your destination room will be marked on the outside of the pass-through room, but not always. And in these cases, you're just hoping that your host has the courtesy to tell you both room numbers. All right, there is nothing more military than a good old-fashioned land nav course. And so that's what I do with my new guys. I mean, if you want your people to perform at their best, they have to be comfortable going out into the labyrinth and getting where they need to go quickly. What I'd do is I'd make a list of 8 or 10 places that they routinely are going to have to go, or maybe a hard to find place that they might be responsible for. And then on their first or second day on the job, I send them out to go find those rooms. This always worked really well because those first couple days, they're kind of twiddling their thumbs, waiting on computer access. So getting out in the hallways and learning how to navigate, it's a great way to spend their time. And you know what's the most important thing they learn while they're out there trying to find these crazy rooms? Well, it's the technique that I still use today. People help people who look lost. Now, normally when I'm cruising through the Pentagon, I put on a face that says, I know exactly where I'm going, and I'm going there to kick some ass. But when I get lost, I drop that facade. And instead, I switch to a face that's friendly, approachable, and then I pantomime being lost and confused. People come out of the woodwork to help you. And if they have a little bit of time, what they'll do is they'll even take you where you're going. Look, I'll admit, the Pentagon can grind you up, but usually that happens inside the rooms. The hallways tend to be a friendlier place. Now, if you want to get a leg up on how to compete for resources inside those rooms, check out this video.